Yes, you guys, how you doing today? I hope your first day back at work wasn't too bad. I'm Nini FC, this is Blue Lines TV, and welcome to the match preview of our upcoming game tomorrow against RB Salzburg. Now in today's match preview, I'm going to structure things a bit differently. I want to start off by talking about our rivals because I do feel as if RB Salzburg are a very interesting club to discuss right now. And to end things, I'm going to be talking about the lineup and tactics for the game as well. However, before I get into any of that, today's video is brought to you by the OneFootball app. Download the OneFootball app, you guys, so you're ready for tomorrow's pre-season game. But after the game, where you're able to vote for your man of the match, you can get the stats from the game as well, and you can also find out all the latest news surrounding this year's pre-season. So if you guys want this, it's going to be in the link in the description below. And one more thing, if you do like today's video, smash that like button. Help me get more than 1,500 likes for today's video. Now, who exactly are RB Salzburg? Not only are they RB Leipzig's finishing school, they were formed in a similar situation to how MK Dons and Wimbledon broke apart. Red Bull, the company, took over the club to much derision from the Austrian football fanbase. Now, SV Austria formed as a breakaway from the newly named RB Leipzig, keeping the history of the club. However, this did not bother the RB Salzburg owners. Since then, they have gone on to win countless league titles. Now, since the new takeover, the running of RB Salzburg has been very successful. They strategized fantastically well by focusing on developing a young squad and a youth team instead of doing the easy thing and buying big name signings. This really helped with their strategy because it helps create a bond between the fans and the new direction of the club. An area that RB Salzburg really heavily invested in though was their great scouting network, where they've been able to find talent such as Sadio Mane, Keita and Amadou Haidara. When it comes to how they spend their money, they spend most of it on youth players for the future. And this model has been very successful for RB Salzburg, bringing in healthy turnovers, where already this season they've made 52 million from the sale of notable players such as Dabur, Wolf and Lena. Now, they've already begun their season against Rapid Vienna, beating them 2-0 in the first game of this season. So RB Salzburg are going to be a very good test. They're a modern day football team where they focus on good young players and they play in a style where they adapt to many different situations, quite similar to how Lampard is trying to bring this to this club. Now, moving the ball, they do use the wide areas and they use a lot of rotational movement to fashion overloads. Most times they do that in the central areas to free up spaces out wide, and to be honest, they are a bit similar to how we play. Now, their previous manager last season was Marco Rose. I know you football heads will probably know who Marco Rose is, a fantastic new and upcoming young tactician. He was replaced, however, by Jesse Marsch, and he was the assistant manager at RB Leipzig. So far, he has introduced a 4-4-2 to the team. And on this note, you guys, I do want to mention 3 key players currently at RB Salzburg. Now, I want to talk about Samaseku first, one of the best players at this year's AFCON. He's a defensive midfield player, but he plays with the style of a cam. Now, for you guys that like guys like Owa, he's quite stylistically similar. He's got great close control. His long passes are sexy as hell. He's a great asset. He covers so much ground. Defensively, he's only been getting better. And he's at a stage right now where a lot of big clubs in Europe are strongly considering him. Clubs like Paris Saint-Germain and Borussia Dortmund. And he really is a player to watch out for. He follows in a long line of African midfield players like Keita, Haidara and many more who've done bits at RB Salzburg, so he's definitely going to be a player to keep an eye out for. Moving on to another young player, and his name is Norwegian youngster Erling Haaland. Now, you guys might recognize his name. He was the scorer of 9 goals in one game against Honduras in the Under-20 World Cup. He's been playing since he was a 16-year-old at FC Molde, and when Solskjaer was the manager, he said that stylistically he's very similar to Lukaku in the sense that he's young, he's built like a superhuman already, and on top of that, he's a player with great promise. He runs the channels well, holds up the ball quite well too with his great strength, and he's one of those players where, depending on the right club he signs for and what that manager decides to do with him, he really could end up being a top-class striker. And to end things with the final talent to watch from RB Salzburg, it's none other than Dominik Szoboszlai. Now this guy is 17 or 18 years old, and he's got massive hype surrounding him. He's seen as Hungary's next best hope, and he's a midfield player that looks like a seasoned pro. I mean, look at the guy's build, look at his physique. He's one of those box-to-box midfield players that can do everything. He can spray a pass, press resistant, he can beat his man 1v1 either by out-muscling them, beating them for pace, or using skill. Now for me, after seeing quite a few clips from him today, this guy could really be the next big talent. I mean, he's got everything going for him right now, and he's definitely a player to keep an eye out for. Now, getting straight into things, and for the lineup tomorrow, I'm expecting us to use a 4-1-2-1-2. Now, I've got a few reasons as to why. The first reason is due to the fact that Lampard mentioned that he feels as if Barkley and Mason Mount can play together. I feel as if with both players now, and with how good their form's been this pre-season, it would make sense to consider a system incorporating both of the players. This way we can see Mason's great movement off the ball. He likes to make his runs inside the box. He's also comfortable creating space as well, and it's going to be crucial for Ross Barkley playing as a number 10 because Barkley does need space in this hole. And with Mason Mount obviously having the freedom and license to roam, this will be great for him to have that goal threat which we're going to need. And for me, I've been saying that I expect to see goals distributed more evenly throughout the team, and I think guys like Mason Mount and Barkley could play a big factor in helping us get more goals. Now of course we know with the fullbacks as well, they need to get forward. This is why guys like Emerson and Aspie are used for the 4-1-2-1-2. Emerson's been decent. I feel as if there's more to come from the player though. Hopefully this season he does really show us what he's really about, but I have to admit he is a fairly safe and standard option down the left hand side for now. Luiz and Zuma in defence I'm expecting to see, and with cover we know that he plays a much more supportive role in the team. However, he's still tasked with the responsibility of having to push forwards and get between the lines. And of course Jorginho playing in the base, helping us, play passes out from the back, turning defence into attack and moving on to the forwards. And there's a reason as to why I think that Lampard is going for Tammy and Michy together. That's due to their mobility. Now, when you do use Olivier Giroud, he's the type of forward that goes towards the ball. He creates space in behind, and he's a bit more static compared to Michy and Tammy Abraham. We know that they're forwards that are able to run the channels, drop deeper as well, and they're able to operate inside the box pretty effectively on top of that. And I think that, again, if you're using Ross Barkley in the 10, when you have runners all around him, that's how he has the space to do what he's doing right now. So this is the team I'm expecting us to see tomorrow. I do think that this may be the first team for the start of the season as well. Now getting straight into the second half, and this is the type of lineup I expect us to see. I think that we are going to use the 4-2-3-1. I think that because we're getting closer to the start of the season, maybe Lampard is going to start to slowly rotate less. He may use less substitutes in tomorrow's game, and my thinking for this is that Lampard wants to see how Pulisic, Barkley and Mason Mount do. Now of course, as we do move the ball, guys like Mason Mount and Pulisic will move closer, they'll move more in fields. Of course the fullbacks will push forward as well. And this way, of course, it's another area where Barkley will have the space to find runners as Mason Mount and Pulisic will move closer towards Olivier Giroud. And playing like this has been leading towards more opportunities on goal. Now, just so I can end things quickly, there's a reason why I think Alonso does play in a 4-2-3-1. Maybe Lampard feels that with Alonso, he is maybe better defensively compared to Emerson. I'm not too sure about that, but we do know that Alonso does have the physical advantage over Emerson. So, of course, playing in the Premier League, that is going to give him a massive boost. Now, for this lineup, we may see them play for about 15 minutes in the second half. As things do go on, though, I'm expecting guys like Mason and Pulisic to come off for guys like Pedro. Let me find my guy here. And Kennedy on top of that as well. So again, I'm looking forward to see what Kennedy does do in this game tomorrow. I thought that he was quite decent, and I think that he could really build from the last performance. That's going to be interesting to see. And on that note, that's going to bring an end to the lineup and the tactics. And on that note, you guys, I'm going to keep things moving. Thank you for watching. I'm Nini FC, this is Blue Lines TV, signing out.